Hello, hello, hello. So Gareth Naylor here, watercolor landscape artist. So I live in Japan and I'm normally painting Japanese landscapes, but I've got a new project and I'm doing 50 paintings of Spain and the Spanish landscape. And today I'm doing this picture. So I've no idea where this is. It's I think I took this from the train, but then again the angle doesn't look like it was taken from the train. So this one I'm not sure about. But why am I painting this one? Well, if you're going to paint 50 paintings and you haven't got lots of photographs, then sometimes you get a bit desperate. And so this isn't perhaps one of the most brilliant things to make a painting from, brilliant scenes, yeah? But looking at it with sympathetic eyes, what is good about this? Well, I mean, the basic composition is good, right? We've got this path, we've got the angle, it's a nice perspective. If we put a figure here, that will work. So that's passable in terms of composition. But what I think makes this potentially a good painting, could be a good painting, is the textures on this mountain. So I know it's a kind of barren landscape, especially if you come from a very green place like I do. But still, when you look at these textures, the rocks, and then this kind of, whatever you call it, kind of bushes, and then we've got here just some loose rock, and then again more bushes here, and then again big stones, and then this stony path, and then we've got these interesting kind of bushes here. And I like it. I like it's subtle. The differences are fairly subtle, but they are there still, and it is interesting. So I think we can have a lot of fun with this, and I'd love to be able to capture this kind of texture. I don't think I will be able to do it in this painting, but I'm aware of it, and hopefully at some point I'm going to be able to paint something that really looks like that, because that's quite exciting. And that little kind of yellow rock there, I know it's not quite yellow, but you know what I mean, but then it becomes grey here, and you've got a bit of green here, and then a kind of minty green or almost there. That's exciting. So those kind of things make this potentially a good painting, could be a good painting. So the first thing I'm going to do is the sky. Now I could do, this has gone solid. I obviously had paint on it and didn't clean it, and now it's dirtying my water. Ah, dear. Let's use another brush. Okay, so basically I've got a mop brush, and I was going to do the sky and this mountain separately, but I think we can do both. Don't have to wait for drying time. Okay, so this is cobalt blue, and yeah, there we go. That's great. Just pure cobalt blue. Okay, and perhaps it gets a little bit lighter down here, so wet that, wipe it off, and then do down here slightly lighter. Okay, and now for this mountain thing. So I've got almost no burnt sienna, but I've got the feeling that burnt sienna is the colour I need. Okay, so this is going to bleed. But I'm not too worried about that, because I'll be able to hide that later. The only thing I have to worry about is if this blue has dried out, because then I might get cauliflowers. And you don't want cauliflowers. Okay, and then I'll just paint over the figure. He's quite small, maybe too small to be honest, but there you go. We'll see. Okay, then I want my yellow ochre. Okay, so I'm going to go a bit thicker at first. Not too bad. And then, really needs to be yellow ochre up here. Where's my tissue? Okay. So, I don't know if you can see my wire. I really need to get a wireless microphone. Okay, there we go, yellow ochre there. If there'd been tiny white gaps in here, like that, I hope you can see that, there's tiny white gaps there, that would be even better. Now, can I add a tiny bit of variety in here? Just a tiny bit. So I'm getting some burnt sienna and just a few marks like that. That's good. Yeah, like it. So now we're going to do this grey path, yeah? This grey path. And has to be done delicately. And I'll probably put some colour here, but I'm not going to define the shapes too clearly yet. So, okay, a delicate grey. Maybe need to clean up here. Wow, yesterday here in Japan, it was super hot. You just wouldn't believe. I think it was 39 degrees. It was a killer. Today, it's a little bit cooler. Feels like heaven. Okay, so this is kind of lilac colour. I'm sorry, I can't turn lilac into a adjective. Lilacly. It's lilac, maybe. So I'm just trying to sound clever, aren't we all? Okay, so there we go, lilac. You can do like yellow as an adjective, can't you? Yellow, yellowy, yellowly. No, you can't. What am I trying to do? Anyway, forget about that. So let's continue. So this has to be subtle. And we can spray, although you don't really want to spray the sky because you don't want a speckled sky, but it's not that bad. And around here, and then this is where we get a bit interesting, bit colourful. So a bit of yellow, and then shall we do a bit of this yellow ochre with a bit of this turquoise? It's actually cobalt turquoise light. Couldn't they just call it turquoise? Okay, so here we go. And then I'm going for my minty green. But they call it cobalt green. I think mint green is more accurate. Or just call it mint. We will know, right? Now, if you look here, it actually has this kind of raised bit of ground, right? It goes up there. I'm just going to ignore that because it looks a bit tricky. I might later on, I might add that, but at the moment I'm just going to ignore that because I'm not sure it's going to help. But later on I might add it or suggest it through shadows, through good use of shading. Okay. Yeah, like that. Doesn't look that exciting, but it's just a base. Okay, and then let's spray this. Now, I perhaps should have done a bit more variety of colour in this path. I should have added a tiny bit maybe of yellow ochre, or made it a little bit redder or a bit bluer. So maybe that is a mistake there. But one thing I can do to add some variety to it, and because I sprayed it, it's still quite wet, is get a little bit of this yellow ochre. Might be a bit of titanium white in this, but titanium white is good mixed with other colours, because it can soften them. And with something like this delicate path, this lilac path, you want these delicate variations within the path. Makes it exciting but not overwhelming. Okay. Yeah, so maybe that's nice. And you can even do pure water. So this is just pure water now. Ooh, got a great big blob of water there. Oh dear. And of course, in this distance, really, you're not going to get these little detailed things, because in the distance, everything becomes simpler and kind of blander, I suppose. And so to add too much detail here on this path would kind of mess up the sense of perspective. Okay, I think that's it. This is a bit of a hard edge here, so I might just soften that up. And I don't care about it being a bit, creating these little cauliflower marks here, because this is all going to be shrubbery. It's foliage, bushes and long grass. So I don't mind it being a bit, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not beautiful wash. I don't need a beautiful wash here. This can be quite splotchy and messy. Okay, I think that works. Wipe up little bits that you don't want with a tissue, and let's leave that to dry. Okay, now this part has dried, so I'm going to do a mountain in the distance. Now you can just see a mountain in the distance, and it's not very blue, but I'm going to do a bigger mountain than that in the distance and make it a bit bluer, but not 100% blue. So I'm getting some cobalt blue and some burnt umber, which will grey it off a bit. And then I'm going to paint that here. Oh yeah, that's quite nice. So I personally believe in exaggerating things and changing things from the original scene, not completely, but a little, in order to improve the painting. Which is not to say I don't love particular places. I do a lot. But you can still capture the soul of a place without having to meticulously copy everything, at least in my opinion. Maybe that's rationalizing there, so whatever. So now I see some kind of, so there's no way I can do all this detail. So, or I'm not going to anyway. That's not the way I paint. So it's going to be suggestive. So I've got some yellow ochre, and I start off light and then move towards darker things. darker colours, and then a touch of this phthalo blue. Let's have a look. Yeah, maybe a bit stronger. And a bit stronger. Okay, that's looking a bit more like what we want. I think that will pass. And then maybe I'm going to splay the hairs and then do it like this. I'm trying to get an interesting textural effect. Because I don't think it will work to kind of draw these gaps individually. I don't think it's going to look so good. I think this one will look more natural this way. I haven't done that really so well, but it's not too bad. Okay, so then the question is, do I let this dry, or do I continue to work within that? Maybe I will. So I'm going to get my small bamboo brush, and I'm going to use a mix of cobalt blue and alizarin crimson, and got a lovely purple mix here, and I'm just going to suggest some shadows, and let's spray it because it's drying out like nobody's business. Okay, wait. So this is tricky because you don't want it to be too much, and at the same time you don't want it to be too bland. Okay, maybe that will do. Okay, so now when I did the first attempt at this, I just started doing bushes here, but I can see there's this gap, yeah? Maybe some kind of erosion, and look, that might be a road there. Oh, I know where this is now. It's when we went to a castle in Spain. Oh, it was a nightmare. I drove along this road, and it's a real narrow road, yeah? And a car came in the opposite direction, so it was a really small road. So I moved the car over to the side of the road, and I heard this terrible screeching noise, and there was a bush by the side of the road, and I thought, oh yeah, just a bush, you know. Have to be careful of bushes in desert-like areas. They have enormous thorns on them, and it just scratched to bits the car I was renting, the brand new car that I rented. That was such a nightmare. So yeah, this painting has a bit of a story. That was so stressful. I cleaned that car like nobody's business, honestly. It was gleaming, and I really tried to get rid of those scratch marks, and when I took it back to the yeah, here we go, moment of truth here. So I'm doing anyway just this suggestion of rocks here, but anyway, when I took the car back to the place you hire it from, I must admit I was a bit sneaky, and I put the scratch side in the shade so you can't see the scratch marks, right? And the guy checked it and cleared it, and then because I'm such an idiot, honestly, my IQ must be, I don't know, 20 or something. But anyway, I just had this moment of like, I'm such a bad person. So I went and told him I scratched the car. And that was actually ended up being a good thing, because he looked at it and he said superficial damage. Honestly, it was like I've been brought back to life again. It was such a relief. Nightmare, absolute nightmare. But there you go. So in the end, I was glad that I told the truth. But that was tough. That was so tough. Whew, that really was a nightmare. And those scratches at first looked worse than they were because the car was covered in a layer of dust, and so for that reason it had removed the dust and the scratches looked even worse. But that was a bit of a nightmare. So if you're hiring a car in Spain, then really do be careful of bushes by the side of the road because they might have thorns on them, and they'll make some nasty marks on your car. So I can't say I really like the marks I've made there, but maybe it will work. It needed to be more dry brush, didn't it? More dry brush marks would have been better. Okay. And of course, maybe fewer marks would have been good as well. Yeah, so this place is a castle in Murcia, and quite amazing castle. And it has this huge gun on top of the mountain from World War II, and it's absolutely huge. It's unbelievable. Quite a thing to see. Okay, so I'm going to do burnt umber now, and as we go down this mountain, you can see that it changes here. Well, no, it's the same, but it gets bigger and maybe a little bit more vibrant, the colour. You know, as colours come closer to you, they get slightly more vibrant. And if you can exaggerate that, then you're doing well. Okay, so this is burnt umber and phthalo blue, but I think it needs a bit of yellow ochre in it. Maybe I'm making mucky colours. I don't know. I never worry about mucky colours. So yeah, I'm definitely making it a lot stronger. And I need to make this an interesting edge here. And if I can get a touch of dry brush in here. Yeah, that is nice. Very nice. Looks good. Looks good. I needed more of that right from the beginning. But there you go, live and learn. Okay. Oh, and then I need to leave some big gaps here, which will look really nice, where we've got some rocks. Don't make it too regular though. The brain just wants to do that. It wants to make it look regular, and it does look a bit too regular. Even the sizes, can you see how they're slowly getting smaller? That's so annoying. Just automatically your brain will add a certain kind of uniformity to things, an order to things, without even trying, and it just doesn't look natural. So now we do the shadows for these. Okay, come on. Cobalt blue, alizarin crimson, too much red. Let's use phthalo blue because it's a really strong blue. Get back to that purple colour. Yep. Okay, and mix it with a bit of dirt, and then that'll darken it. Now, you have to time this right. If you do it too soon, this shadow just disappears into nothing, like maybe that will, and it just looks rubbish. And if you do it too late, then it just looks like stuck on. So that's one of the big problems about watercolor. Timing is everything. but with time you start to get a feel for the right time to do something and the wrong time. Still tricky though. Yeah, I want to do some delicate shadow here. And I need to kind of make the colour though different from this bush. It has to be noticeably different, but not like, maybe that will work. You can tell that that's a rock then. Let's try and correct this one. Yeah, quite like it. Do little bits and blobs, whatever, for this edge. And can you see how sometimes these shadows, they've disappeared, right? So my timing was a bit off. But still, overall, not so bad. Not so bad. And let's spray it. How am I doing on the video? It's getting a bit long, but I just want to do these rocks on the top. And so these rocks have kind of like a highlight to them. And the way I'll create the highlight on these rocks is just by leaving a gap. You really have to simplify things. So I've got some burnt umber, some phthalo blue, more phthalo blue, touch of alizarin crimson, phthalo blue. Whoops, got the hiccups. And then here we go. So this really needs little gaps like that, and dry brush. So dry my brush on a rag. I'm getting rid of excess water. So it should be easier to create a dry brush effect. Don't see it happening. Oh, there. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, that came down too far, but there we go. Work with it. Yeah, I like that. That doesn't look, that looks a bit strange. Now that's better. Okay. That looks a bit artificial just there. Make it a bit more irregular. Okay, that's not bad. And then I might even do a bit of dry brush just here for variety. And then stop there, Gareth. Because can you see we've got these lovely little patches, and as long as we don't crowd them too much, looks nice. Looks nice. Now here, these shadows have really disappeared, so my timing was really off. But we can spray it, and we can try again. Just use a thick mix and dark colour. In fact, I'm just going to use burnt umber. Almost pure paint. Desperate measures for desperate times. Okay. Not brilliant, but hopefully it will pass. Hopefully it'll pass. I mean, what we could do is this. I want to say don't do this at home, but of course you're going to. Because it's a lesson. But this is very ill-advised, shall we say. A watery mix, because this could go very, very wrong. And then I'm just going to flood the top here and hopefully create a bit more of a highlight here. So maybe this is, I'm not sure if this is a technique or if it's cheating. Maybe if it works, it's a technique. And if it doesn't, let's call it cheating. Okay. So I might even go a little thick. I don't want to overdo it though and give too much detail, and I don't want it to look stuck on, but maybe it's working. Although this bit looks a bit too empty now by contrast, but still. I might just do up here just a few dark marks. Just something a little bit stronger, but not too much. Going over the same shadowy areas, so I'm not getting rid of all this lovely lightness. Maybe that will do. I always say that will do, and then I end up doing more. It's so important not to overdo. It's so difficult. Yeah, I can see it. I think that almost works. But what's this white blob here? Okay, is that a rock? Maybe it's a rock. So let's give it a little bit of shadow, whatever. Yeah, I think that works. Okay, let's leave that to dry. Okay, we're back, and now we're going to do this path, and we're going to suggest these tiny little stones through using dry brush. And it's so simple, and this will be over in like about 1 second, less than a second. But if you don't do it right, then it's really not going to be so good. So we need like something like a big, maybe this brush will do. Maybe a bigger bamboo brush than this. And you need some rubbish paper, scrap paper. And it's a bit tricky, because if your scrap paper is super smooth, you're not going to get quite a dry brush effect easily. And if your real paper that you're painting on, if that's got like a bit of tooth to it, a bit of texture, then it's going to be easier to get a dry brush effect. So you have to be careful. You know, if the scrap paper and the paper you're working on have different surfaces, you're going to get a slightly different result. So just be careful about that. Okay, so I'm mixing up a grey, just any kind of grey, and then I do this, and I can see that I'm going to get a dry brush effect, but this paper has more texture than this one. This is better paper, even though it's scrap paper. So I'm going to do this very lightly at first. It's not too bad. Dry it off a bit. And as you do it more and more, it's drying out more and more. So the dry brush effect should be getting better and better. But it does get to a point like now where there's nothing happening. So you really got to be careful with this one. It's easy to overdo it. Yeah, I think that's working. You can see it, can't you? You can see it. So it does take a lot of sensitivity though to develop that technique. And then let's do a little bit of yellow ochre mixed with this grey, and then we're going to just drop on a few little stones, flicking the brush. And again, let's not overdo it. Yeah, I think that's enough. Okay, so now we're going to do this. And to do this, we need a brush like this. And we really need to mess up the brush hairs. But first, before that, we need to get the colours. So minty green here. And maybe blend it a bit with this yellow ochre because it's too green. And then we've got hairs splitting, that's what we want. And then we're going to flick up like this. That looks very good. And then maybe we want to just, yeah, let's go for all of it, shall we? On a run. On the run. That's probably why watercolour painting is so fun, because it really does feel like you're a bit on the run sometimes, and you haven't got much time, and you've got to work quick. Try and splay these hairs. Slowly they will start to come together again, which you don't want. Okay. And then finally just here. Ooh, do some yellow ochre. Splay those hairs. I know a lot of watercolour painting goes against basic intuition. You'd never think that you'd do this kind of stuff to your lovely hairs on your brush, would you? But I think what the main message is, you do whatever you have to in order to get the desired effect. And now we want phthalo blue and alizarin crimson. It's like that Alvaro guy, Castanet. He even spits on his paintings because, well, the effect looks quite good. So it's pretty gross, but it works. Couldn't believe it when he did that. Okay, so spray here, because we want this to blend a little. That's the thing, a little. Splay these hairs, and then this is the problem of not doing too much and not doing too little. That's such a fine and important characteristic or quality of whatever it is of watercolour painting. Not too much, not too little. And I feel like that already looks like too much. It looks like, I don't know, too, doesn't look messed up enough, if you know what I mean. So can I mess this up a bit to make it look a bit more natural? Maybe not. It's still passable. I mean, we can have a few little wild bits of grass here. Maybe a few there. Ooh, they're not working out nicely. Yeah, that's not too bad. Wow, I lowered the air conditioner and it's really getting pretty hot in here now. Okay, and then don't worry if this doesn't work. I'm actually, it's not quite right. It's just, it's too nice. You know what I mean? Like they're all going up so regularly. I will try and alter that, but do a few stray ones that go in odd directions. But overall, I'm quite pleased with this because I think this is where I could have easily gone wrong with this painting, doing these grasses just here. But I think overall, it's quite good. Just the danger now is I'm going to do too much. But I feel it needs a few touches. Could be wrong. Could be very wrong. It's so strange. You've got to care and not care. How the heck do you do that? You know, because you want to do something beautiful, but at the same time, if there's not a kind of almost like reckless, couldn't give a toss something when you paint, it's not going to have spontaneity. It's not going to have life and energy in it. It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. Yeah, and maybe that's too much. Oh, I can do that. That's, yeah, quite like that. Be hopeful. Yeah, and I think that's pretty okay. That's pretty okay. So let's leave that to dry and then we'll do my figure. And I'm not sure, I might do this shadow here. Should I risk it? Yeah, okay, I'm going to risk it. So I keep saying this and I'm not sure if I'll always follow it, but it probably is good to take risks and try things. It basically means that you are going to end up screwing up a lot of your paintings, especially as a beginner or even a fairly experienced artist. But you can learn so much from just doing something different. And I know you know this, but we just have to be told, don't we, again and again until the penny drops. At least that's the way I am. I'm not sure if that works. I think it does. And I think that was a good idea. I might even do another one here. And even here. See how easy it is to overdo things. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think that was a good idea. And I might even do just a few small rocks here, even though in reality they're not there. I'm just fabricating. I'm lying. Yeah, but maybe too much. You have to kind of move back and try and see it, the bigger picture. See if it's working. Yep. Okay, yeah, I think that's... that doesn't look quite right. If I do that though, I think that looks better. Okay, maybe. Maybe I messed that up. Maybe okay. Let's just do a few. Maybe that's working now. Okay, and a bit more of these little stones. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's leave that to dry and then do our figure. And I think we are almost there. Okay, so hopefully this is getting close to the end now. And I'm going to do the figure. And so you have to think about colours here. So first of all, being the coward I sometimes am, I'm going to do the safest bit, which is his legs. Actually, that might not be super safe, but I don't have to think about colour yet because I'm just going to give him some brown. Mix it up with this dark brown pants. So it's not super safe though because I've got to do a dry brush effect, and so I need to wipe my brush on here a lot, test it on my scrap paper. Yep, and then do it. And remember, this paint here, it's a bit wet, so you're picking up some of that wetness, so that will make it more difficult to do a dry brush effect. And I've done his pants way too big. Double the size. Look at that. Okay, so we've now got a bigger figure. Okay, so I think a white top would be really nice, but it means it's going to be a bit more difficult. Okay, I'm going to go for a blue top. I'm going for my turquoise. Does that look kind of, you think a hiker would have turquoise shirt? I'm not sure about that, right? But at least it's going to stick out, and that's important. Okay, so I'm altering this figure now. Okay, and I have to get a bit closer now because he's got an arm coming out here, a hand here, and he's got an arm coming down here. You need to try and make your figures dynamic. Okay, and he's going to have a head there. Okay, next thing is head. So just make a kind of black. So phthalo blue, burnt umber, red. Okay, and then we go add a bit of water. Add some more water. So maybe I'm going to give him a white hat. So there is going to be a bit of white in there, and it's going to stick out. And that's what we want, because we want the viewer's eye to go straight to this figure. Okay, maybe his head is a bit too big. Okay, then normally I would let this dry a bit, but because I'm on the video, I don't like making lots and lots of clips because it just takes a long time uploading them. So anyway, I've got some blue, a touch of this cobalt blue. I've got some white, a touch of cobalt blue, and gives you a kind of grey. And yeah, it looks a bit like Captain Scarlet, but okay. That head looks a bit too big, but we'll go with it. Okay, it's within the range. Next thing is, where are my shadows? Where's the light coming from? I think it's coming from over here. So one of the most important things, fairly early on in your painting, determine the light source. Okay, which I didn't do. It doesn't matter too much because his legs are being a bit hidden by these grasses, but I think if we add a shadow, it will be better. So cobalt blue, alizarin crimson, too much, cobalt blue. That's it. Getting there. And then wipe it, mix it. Like that. And then finger time. Amazing. I'm a finger painter. Okay, and then let's do his I don't like that hat. It's really not, it's not very easy to see, is it? But anyway, let's shall we make it red? Red's really going to stick out, isn't it? I might. Okay, so I'm going to do skin colours now. So white and a touch of yellow ochre, and maybe try some of this brilliant orange. It's kind of fun, the kind of colours you can, skin colours you can make. It's like pretty endless. I sometimes use burnt sienna or burnt umber. I often use just brilliant orange, to be honest, but now I got a bit more sophisticated, and so now I tend to play around with different varieties. But in the beginning, I just did brilliant orange. I was just copying Alvaro, whatever. He's my hero. And that other guy, whose name I can't pronounce. Why do they have such difficult names? Should be called Gareth. That's an easy name, right? Okay, John. John is better. John is an easy name. Or a name that sounds really cool, like Jose. Jose sounds cool, doesn't it? I like the name Jose. I'd love to be called Jose, or, you know, some of these Spanish names. Okay. It's not really popping out, is it? That's why sometimes just doing brilliant orange, it's good because it works. It really pops out. Okay. Next, his walking sticks. Yeah. American people, I don't think they know about this, but in England, oh my goodness, look at that. That's like a staff. Okay. Damage control time. Oh, so if you get in there quick, you can sometimes fix it. So, goodness me, I'm not painting Gandalf. That would be fun though. And then another one here. Yeah, but in Europe now, it's pretty cool to have these walking, they don't call them walking sticks, you know. I mean, that wouldn't sell them if they called them walking sticks, right? I think, I don't know. But a lot of people use them, and I like them because it makes the figure look really interesting. It just adds, you know, thicks and thins. Whenever you do a shape, if it's got thicks and thins in it, you're on to a winner. And if you have to, just add them. It's that contrast thing, right? Okay, come on, red. Okay, let's give him a bright red hat. Make it a bit smaller. His previous hat was too big. Oh yeah. No, he really looks like Captain Scarlet. You probably don't know Captain Scarlet, right? And the Mysterons. Oh, look at that. That's not bad, right? I think the skin colour is like, it's just a bit too pinky, don't you think? I'm not sure if it looks natural. But let's leave it to dry. And then, actually, let's just do our white highlights. I should leave it to dry, but I think I can do all of this in one go. But yeah, I think this painting overall has worked. I think maybe the sky, maybe I should have done it more, is it graded? So up here, a bit more of a bluer and a bit lighter, more transparent. I mean, it should be transparent, right? But do you know what I'm saying? I think maybe it's not quite right. I think this bit here is excellent. I'm so happy about that. This, it's okay. I think I need to do my darks again. So that's really difficult to do. The path here is great. This is not bad. And this is good. So yeah, it's really good to assess your work. Think about, where's the sun coming from, Gareth? Yeah. So normally I'd wait for the whole figure to be super dry and then do this. But it's only because of the video and my laziness that I'm not going to wait. Well, I am quite busy. Okay, that's pretty okay. I feel like this area needs something. A few more dry grasses. Okay. If I can do these well, it will really be good. But splay those hairs. Now, I'm not sure that's any good because you can't really see it. So let's go for some darker green. Yeah. Okay, wish me luck. And then, yeah. So that's not too bad. And here we are again. When is enough enough? And I'm making them all look the same. I know your game. Mr. Brain. I know. It's the brain again. Doing its thing. Got to make one really big maybe. So when you do something like that, even if you just totally mess it all up, just pat yourself on the back because you tried. Yeah, I quite like that. And I think just a few dark stones. Is he overdoing it? Not sure. Could be. And if you've got little bits of white, use them as like the highlight of a stone or something. Might even do a few really big rocks. It will give an artificial sense of perspective. Yeah, I think that. One more. It's a tough game. Or difficult to guess. I think that's it. And maybe over here we can just give this a bit more of an edge. Like that. I think that works. And then I think I need to do something here with this. I'm not sure what. A few little darks. And what you can do is you can rub them in with your finger just to kind of blend them in. And I might do just some dry brush. Maybe it's a bit greener. And then just a few. So this is where we can do some nice brush strokes. And I know you're saying, Gareth, this is watercolor, mate. You know, transparency, not pasting it on. That's acrylic. And yeah, but I think we should always try and push it. I know what you're saying, but you know my philosophy now, right? If it works, do it. And of course, when you start to bend the rules, it's amazing how your ability to express things increases dramatically. Because look at that. I think that looks a lot better now. Okay, and I'm going to use yellow ochre now. Ooh, and I went a bit heavy. But hey, let's go with it. Let's see what it looks like. Maybe too much, but kind of interesting. But I need to get to a stopping point soon. Yeah, that's it. And maybe this grass, maybe that too. I'm going to do burnt umber mixed with all this stuff, and I'm just going to do a few rogue marks. Don't you like that? Rogue marks. Yeah, I did literature. About the only thing I was good at was making these odd phrases now and again. Rogue marks. Maybe that's original. Yeah, but you just want a few of these odd marks. Again, it's to break up this things being too regular. You know, there's got to be this kind of randomness. Yeah, although I did that in a fairly not so random way perhaps, but there you go. I think that helped. Yeah, I think that looks better now. I think that's it. I just think this figure, that blue is bothering me for some reason. Maybe I just need to dirty it up a bit, add a little bit of shadow here. Yeah, I think that looks a bit more natural. Okay, so, and also his cap. It needs just a touch of shadow maybe here. Yeah, looks just a bit more natural and fitting into the landscape. Okay, there we go. And should I even do? Oh my goodness, there's no stopping me now. Maybe some shadow there. Not sure about that. But maybe. So there we go. So this was a very fun painting to paint and have a go. And I think there's a lot to learn here. A lot to learn about how to paint these interesting hills and how to create textures and variety, and also blank spaces. You need these spaces, right? It really adds to the painting. And then also how to do these little rocky bits on top of the hills, and then also how to do grass. I mean, that's very difficult, and splay those hairs on your brush, right? And then also dry brush for the path. Okay, so there we go. I think these might need a tiny bit of shadow. So cobalt blue, alizarin crimson. There we go. So there might be just a touch of shadow. Well, more than a touch with that one. And there too. And I think, yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, yeah, I think that's looking quite exciting. Okay, so have a go and have fun. Bye for now.